Marvel's Avengers just recently introduced Spider-Man to their roster, and I'm very excited to talk about everything that is in his kit and what I like and what I really don't. Let's start off with the most important thing, and that's obviously the way that Spider-Man moves around. His traversal, his web swinging, is it any good? Let's find out. So I'll be really upfront with you guys right off the bat. Web swinging is easily the best form of traversal in this game. Is that saying a lot? Frankly, I'm extremely pleased that they decided to go with web swinging off of nothing, because if he web swung off things, it probably wouldn't have worked, and there would have been a lot of areas where he just couldn't swing at all, and that would have been no fun. On that point, however, I do wish that the web went a little bit higher than it currently does, because I find myself noticing where the web is not attached to anything, and that just kind of ruins my immersion. I wish that I could see not it being just in the air randomly. I wish I could see it go a little higher, and then I wouldn't actually notice that it was just attached to nothing, and it would help my immersion just a little bit. And I could imagine maybe there's a helicopter up there he'd be swinging off of. Maybe, I don't know, maybe just let me imagine. But honestly, overall, I do have a lot of fun with the swinging. I can point launch like in Insomniac's game. Not that I want to compare too much to Insomniac's game because that's stupid, but the point launch feature seems to be directly inspired from Insomniac Spider-Man, and it is very fun to do in this game, and I'm glad that they included it. And honestly, the animations and the vibe overall, it's actually pretty great, and I have to give them a pat on the back for the way that they've implemented Spider-Man so far. But really, this is not Insomniac Spider-Man, and frankly, if you were hoping for Insomniac Spider-Man somehow, in playstyle or even just the suit itself, you're a fucking idiot. And you probably like to be disappointed because those expectations are just way too damn high. First and foremost, this is an Avengers game. It is meant to be a group dynamic, and they cannot put that much time, energy, and that amount of resources into one single character like Insomniac did when they made a solo game for Spider-Man. And if you expected that, you are literally an insane person. Go get checked out. Go get some help. Also, I will not be tolerating any fucking Fortnite comparisons. Get that fucking bullshit out of here, dude. The web swinging doesn't even look that good, and it is a totally different engine, and it is just an item, and it is, frankly, a bullshit, stupid fucking argument, okay? God fucking damn it. It makes me so angry for no reason. Like, maybe I'm old. I don't know. It's a stupid fucking comparison, and I will not tolerate it. You say Fortnite web swinging in my goddamn comment section, and you get blocked. Shut the fuck up. I'm more tilted than the towers about this. God fucking damn. However, I will concede that I did download Fortnite in order to try the web swinging because it does genuinely look cool, and I will not actually shit on Fortnite as a game. I'm not actually that salty. Just to clarify that it was a bit before. Thank you for coming to my Spider-Man web swinging TED Talk. I'll get back to the video. Swinging, however, does have some weird things, especially with how physics act when you're swinging through the air. The game is clearly holding your hand. The swinging is definitely meant to, like, go in one direction, and you don't really have as much control as you do in Insomniac Spider-Man, obviously, because they don't do physics the same way. It's not the same game engine, and you're not actually really swinging off anything. You're just swinging. It's just for vibes, if that makes any sense. It feels kind of on rails is what I'm getting at. A perfect example of what I mean is when I jump down from like a platform or something and I try to swing underneath that platform, I get bumped up back onto the platform or something like that, and that's because the game expects me to want to stay on the level that I'm at and not actually go down. But I'm expecting to physics my way underneath that thing, and that's just not how it works. It's not real physics. It's not how video game engines always work. It should be, in my opinion. I like the real world vibe, but I get that's not what they're going for, and I get that most people probably wouldn't have that expectation. If you do, let me know in those comments. There is, however, one other really important aspect to Spider-Man's traversal, and that is, of course, his wall running and wall crawling abilities. Now, this is actually very cool in concept, that he can run around in any direction on walls, and then he's not limited to just wall running for a short duration like characters like Black Panther or Captain America. However, I find running on walls as Spider-Man incredibly difficult, and I almost never do it, except for a couple rare occasions, and I'll tell you why. First off, the camera. Whenever I jump off of a wall as Spider-Man, the camera does this weird jerk to assume where I'm trying to go, and it doesn't know where I'm trying to go, and I'm all disoriented, and I wish it would just leave the camera where I was looking because that's where I was trying to go. Also, when you're running on a wall, the default direction that you're running is straight fucking upwards, so I can't do a lateral wall run like Captain America or Black Panther can, I feel like I'm forced to go up, and that's weird. I think it should be based on the angle that your camera is at and not just default to straight up. That's kind of strange. You could even just default it to the same lateral wall run. I'd be okay with that. It would be a little bit better than going up. There's very few instances that I find going up very valuable, especially with the ceiling on the city levels. I can't get on most roofs, and that feels weird. Otherwise, wall running is actually really fun, and when I do use it, which is when I'm directly running straight into a wall and there's something up that I'm trying to go to, those instances feel great, and I really like what they did there. Let's talk about his combat. There's a lot to say here, so bear with me. Let's start with his heroic abilities. First up, Web Bomb is actually my favorite one. I think it's the most interesting. I think it does the most, and I think it's the most useful. I also really like the upgrade that just turns it into a Falcon Punch and then it explodes all over things. That's pretty fun. Wrecking Ball, however, is absolute dog shit. Once I've triggered my Wrecking Ball, I do a big spin animation that takes a bunch of time, and by the time that I get through it, all of the enemies that I was targeting have probably fucked off and gone somewhere else, and I can't turn it when I'm using the animation. They're all just gone. And the Web Drone, I don't really have that much of a bone to pick with it, other than it's just kind of boring. I would have loved to see something more interesting with that, but it is good. It doesn't do anything wrong. I just would have liked to see maybe like a really cool web blossom, or something like pulling out the iron spider arms and like punching with more damage or something and giving like, I don't know, man. Just a more interesting gadget than a spider drone, because that feels weak and that feels lame, but I get it. Next up, let's talk about melee combat. I fucking love punching things as Spider-Man. It feels really good. The animations are on point. There is something a little weird going on with his light attack animations, and maybe his other animations in general, but some of them are just ripped straight from Black Panther, which is interesting. The most egregious example of this is obviously this uppercut move. They're basically identical. Black Panther's is just faster, and I find that really interesting. It doesn't really upset me, just the game dev in me goes, oh, that's a cool way to save on resources and development time and all of that by just reusing stuff that fits the character. I get it. I'm not upset. I am curious how many times they did this with Spider-Man, and if they've done this with anyone else. If you know of any animations that are shared between characters, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Spider-Man's heavy attacks are incredibly unique, in my opinion, in that they're mostly aerial based, which I find very interesting. His base heavy is just a web zip attack, and then after that he does the web kick, and that's really fun, and it really helps you to fight in the air because he is a very aerial-based combatant. And of course, Spider-Man's bread and butter is his takedowns. His intrinsic meter, when it is full, he just gets a free takedown. It's actually crazy. You can just take down Dreadbots if your intrinsic meter is full from full health to immediately dead. It's amazing. And CD spared no expense on their takedowns for Spider-Man. They're all actually sick as fuck, and I will admit that I bought all of them and do not regret a single thing. Frankly, his combat feels very Spider-Man. It's very true to the character, and I really like it. He is easily the most fun to play for me, and definitely a new main. Ranged attacks. God damn, that animation looks silly. He just stands there and he goes... It's silly, and that's okay. It's allowed to be silly. There is the dodge and then triangle move that lets him do some really cool dancey ranged web attack moves, and those are fun. I really like the way that those look. Oh, and of course he does have a web blossom attack when you're doing your light combos and then you hit triangle. He does the big pew 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 with the ground thing, especially when you have status applying on your ranged attacks, and then he does a big spin and hits everyone with something really powerful. It's really cool. But really, with his ranged attacks, there's not that much going on other than applying the web status to people that aren't bosses. For some reason, it can't affect bosses. It should be able to affect bosses, let's be honest. Let's talk about Spidey Sense. If you didn't know, they don't actually have a parry or defense kind of block ability in Spider-Man. He just dodges out of the way with Spidey Sense. And that's not automatic, you have to dodge, but you get more indicators than your average player, and that's, I guess, where the benefit comes from. And they traded out the block/parry for the swinging ability, which I guess is a fair trade-off, but part of me still wishes that he could press that block and defend button, just because I play that way most of the time. I wish that he was like kind of like Kamala, and when you tried to block and parry with Spider-Man, he just like did a little whoosh out of the way. That'd be fun as hell. Really, this is biased because I'm used to blocking and defending and stuff, so I'm just having trouble rewiring my brain, and it's not that big of a deal, and I'm sure I'll get over it. It is thematic, and I can't be too upset at the end of the day. I get it. Like I said, Spidey is my new main. I think Sean Chiplock absolutely crushes it with the voice acting. All the audio files are phenomenal. Go listen to them if you haven't. And I'm curious what you guys think. How long will Spidey-Man 4 team squads last? Will they last forever, or is this just a fad for now? Let me know in those comments. Will you be going back to other characters? Or are you sticking with Spidey the whole way through? Oh, I have one more big piece of news for you guys. I joined FKNA. The man FK himself reached out and proposed me to join their team, and I said, yeah, let's do it. That sounds like a good time. And I'm really excited to make some cool content with those boys, so go check them out if you haven't. It's going to be great. We're going to have fun. There's lots of great folks on the team, and I'm really excited to work with all of them. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. It would mean a lot to me. It helps out a lot. I really do appreciate it. And make sure you click on another video. There's one up there, there's one over there, and there's a playlist over there. So if you haven't clicked on it yet, what are you doing here still? Get out of here. Go. You're rare if you're still here. Like fucking 13% of people that watch my videos get to this point, which is incredibly